There's no such thing as being perfect, and that just doesn't mean the perfect body. Ashley Graham. Welcome, and I'm so glad that you're here. Here we talk about personal development, relationships, and mental health, just to name a few. My name is Carmen, a registered counsellor who is passionate about coming alongside people. This podcast is designed to create a discussion and bring awareness, with each episode encouraging, equipping, and empowering you so you can live your best life. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode. How are you? Well, I hope. So in Australia, we are in the first week of spring and you can feel the change in the air. And I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited about the warmer days to follow. And I don't know if it's just me, but spring serves as a reminder that even after the cold, dormant winter, there is newness in the horizon. And sooner or later, we transition from one season to another. So if we were to use this analogy for the seasons of our lives, where do you find yourself? Perhaps we can never be fully prepared for everything that life throws at us. Still, I wonder if we can equip ourselves in a way that we can read the seasons as such and create awareness to understand what it is we need to navigate wherever we find ourselves. One of my deepest appreciation for the process of counselling is that the tools gained can be applied even after counselling is terminated. So while a client presents with a challenge, the aim is that they leave understanding themselves at a deeper level and have some tools up their sleeve. So during last week's episode, we unpacked self-talk and how it is the private chatter that goes on in our minds that in turn reveals our core beliefs. This week, we'll be looking at perfectionism. Perhaps if we were to tune into a perfectionist self-talk, it might sound like, I must do well at all times. According to Therapy Today, perfectionism is often defined as the need to be or appear to be perfect, or even believe that it's possible to achieve perfection. So I'm putting you on the spot here, but what is your definition of perfectionism? So I wonder if one of the biggest misconceptions is that perfectionism increases our chances of success. Still, instead, it can make it harder for us to reach our goals, causing self-defeating thoughts or behaviours, anxiety, depression, stress, and other mental health issues. So it's probably safe to say that it's counterproductive. So if there was a battle between perfection and excellence, this is what it might sound like. So coming from perfection's corner, we might hear, reach for impossible goals, avoid failure at all cost, because it's devastating if you do. Don't stop doing, because it's what brings you value. You have to be number one, and we must dodge criticism, even if it's constructive. And then coming from excellence's corner, this is what we might hear. Have a go and try something new. Work on goals that are within reach. Enjoy the process and do your best. Learn from failure and welcome constructive criticism. So if you could choose, who would you want in your corner? Would you prefer what comes from the mouth of perfection, or what comes from the mouth of excellence? While we might find ourselves having perfectionist traits or self-talk at times, perhaps a gauge to know when we are functioning in the realm of perfectionism is when it no longer serves our lives or those who are nearest and dearest to us. with perfectionism becoming a part of our identity. Some traits that we are falling into perfectionism could be when we find ourselves comparing ourselves to others constantly, holding ourselves to an unrealistic standard, having an all or nothing mindset. If it can't be done perfectly, then the task won't get done. Focusing on the completion of a task rather than the process and the journey of getting there. Not finishing a task unless it is perfect. Avoiding trying something new for fear of getting it wrong and not appearing perfect. Difficulty being happy for others who are successful. And seeing that not getting 100% is a sign of failure. If you haven't heard of Brené Brown, she is a professor who has spent her career studying the concepts of courage, vulnerability, shame, and empathy. And this is what she has to say about perfectionism. Perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to be your best. Perfectionism is not about healthy achievement and growth. She explains that perfectionism is used by many people as a shield to protect against the pain of blame, judgment, or shame. The breeding ground for perfection can also be the constant fear of disapproval. For example, when expressed disapproval from parents because a child's efforts doesn't result in perfection. Also taking in consideration one's family of origin. For example, having a parent who exhibits perfectionistic behaviour themselves. On a finishing note, if you feel that you have traits of perfectionism that cause you daily stress, be encouraged to know that it is possible to learn healthier attitudes about your goals and standards. If this is you, you might consider counselling. And if you would like to know about how counselling works or you've been thinking about giving it a go, let's get in touch and see how we can work together by going to carmendebono.com.au. And on a side note, thanks for sharing your interest on what topics you would like me to cover. And please be sure to keep them coming. Stay safe, and I look forward to coming alongside you again next week. So that's it for today's episode, and as always, I am grateful for the opportunity to come alongside you. If you know someone who might benefit from hearing this episode, why not share it with them? And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. For more content or to learn about the services I provide, head over to carmendebono.com.au, and I look forward to coming alongside you again next Wednesday.